today.
We Kelly, baby!
Game 1 today. They don't know what they're doing. They're a bunch of nerds. And what's even their mascot? Is it a duck?
It's like a duck or
Sage hen.
Sage hen.
I don't know, whatever he said. Let's go with that.
Roll bombs.
Will, anything to say off of this?
I'm ready to sit the bench today. Let's go.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, great day to be a Bomber today.
Oh, yeah.
Bad day for Pomona.
Something wrong.
Bad day to be
Big fan of the track.
Oh, everyone's ready to go.
Adam, where are you going, bro?
Oh. First time we got the whole squad.
Outfielders, roll out. Yep, I'm here, and I'm here to stay, baby.
Where's the backpack? Wimmer!
Whatever.
He's got AirPods.
Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier. When the morning comes, and we see what we've become. In the cold light of day, we're a flame in the wind, not the fire that we begun. Every argument, every word we can't take back. Cause with all that has happened, I think that we both know the way that the story ends. Then only for a minute I want to change my mind, cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I want to see you smile. No, that means I'll have to leave.
You could pull up a laptop, but you're just gonna sit there with your Word document and not be able to get to the internet.
So you would say your entire weekend is basically all
It's a
baseball,
waste.
no matter what, and then you get home at.
It's a waste.
And then what time would you get home on, say, Sunday?
If we were at Stevens,
Yeah.
like we would probably play a doubleheader Saturday and a one-game Sunday. So I'd probably get home around 5 or 6 at the earliest. That's if we don't stop on the way back. And then start getting my schoolwork done. But by that time, I've already missed the whole weekend. So we played a game at Stevens on Wednesday this year. That's in the middle of the week. So you can imagine how tough that was for us to get our schoolwork done and tell our teachers and miss class and miss our tests or whatnot. But to miss things is one thing. You gotta be able to make it up when you're not there. And on the bus, they say that you can do schoolwork on the bus and get it all done on the bus because it's a 3-hour ride and you have 6 hours to do it all. But you don't have outlets or Wi-Fi. So getting it done is just like a dream.
Going deer shit.
Dear shit.
So what about your professor? What did she say about that?
Well, when I met with her, she said keep plugging away, and I understand, but she's usually like, she seemed like a more understanding professor than I've ever had. With other group projects that I've had earlier years, the professor doesn't seem to understand if you need to miss. They say, well, school comes first, which it does, but you also have a team that 30 plus guys, they want to win, and especially if you play a role in them winning, you need to be there. So group projects are pretty much impossible. They're not impossible, but they're tough to get to. Not only do most of the students not understand what practice every day is like with schoolwork in class, but they don't really seem to have much leniency if you need to miss or if you need to reschedule. So I don't know if it's because the students or I don't know. Best time for me is like 9 o'clock at night. because I don't have much time during the day, and what little time I do, I usually spend it doing schoolwork for that day. So,
does that affect your grade at all?
Absolutely. I was in a group project this semester, and my group absolutely hates me. There's no doubt, because I can only schedule group meetings at 9 o'clock or 8:30 at night, and that's when they want to either tone down their day or go to sleep or do other things that's not related to school. So, but those are the only times that work for me, because my schedule is ridiculous in the front end. So it's tough.
Especially during the spring.
Yeah, you forget about the spring. It's ridiculous.
I talked to Susan Bassett last week about students getting a better education because of their sport, and how she would manage in the future the schedules that professors need to be provided. And this was her response. Quote, "In the future, we will implement sending out schedules to our professors and the dean of schools. That'll be a set schedule so that they can look at it and then give their students the equitable class excuse." End quote.
They should have already been doing that. It not only puts, like, when we need to miss a class for a game, it puts pressure on us to make the decision on whether how important that class is to that semester or that grade that you want. So it puts pressure on us to make the decision, but if they already knew, then they would either come to us or they'd figure out some solution, or we'd schedule things way ahead of time before they even come up. So, I mean, it's tough to do with the baseball season because there's cancellations all the time, but sport plays a huge role, especially when you need to be playing every single day to develop your skills and get better at what you're doing. If you're injured, you're screwed.
So what if
if you're injured, you need to go to treatment, because if you don't go to treatment, you're not allowed to practice or play in a game or get better health-wise. So, like, I was injured in the spring. This past, like, it was like a month and a half ago. I was injured with a hamstring injury, and I had to go to treatment every single day, twice a day, for about combined 3 hours. And that was at around 2 o'clock, so it would go from 2 o'clock right up till practice time, and then I would go in practice. So it would be like 5.5 hours of baseball, 5 at least, carved out of my day. And that's aside from all the schoolwork and the eating and everything else. So you need to wake up either really early to get it all done, or stay up really late and get it all done.
But is your coach usually a little lenient on that? Do you ever talk to him?
Yeah, he usually understands, but I can usually miss practice and be able to not have too many repercussions, but the players on the team definitely let me know when I miss practice and chirp me about it and tell me I'm a terrible person.
On our course, we pretended we're okay. Now if we jump together, at least we can swim far away from the wreck we made. Then only for a minute, I want to change my mind, 'cause this just don't feel right to me. I wanna raise your spirits, I
that difficult when you started out?
I think it was. I think my priorities weren't. I didn't have my priorities right, so there were a lot of times like I would choose hanging out with my friends or studying with my friends over maybe sitting down in the library by myself and getting the work done.
Do you go to the library more often now?
Yeah, a lot more often.
How often do you think?
Well, in season, probably 5 times a week. Every day's kind of different. So this week was weird because we had a lot of changes because of the weather and stuff. So like this morning, we're leaving for games this afternoon. So this morning we had a bullpen. So I woke up at 5:30 and studied for an exam that I had at 10 a.m. Went and got coffee and breakfast, had practice at 8 a.m. and then went and took my exam.
And then you're traveling after this?
Yes.
Jesus.
We're heading out. Went and packed, did some laundry, and then we leave at 4 o'clock today. So every day's kind of different. You just
yeah. Do
Last
you think other people miss more classes or no?
Yeah, I think people that have labs.
Okay. So it's sort of major based.
Yeah, it is major based. My classes also, since I'm a senior, I'm kind of just wrapping up.
Yeah.
I'm only taking like 15 credits. So because I'm only taking 15 credit hours, I'm not in class as much compared to maybe like a sophomore or a freshman who's taking 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And as long as I feel like if I make an effort with them to communicate like, oh, I have a game next week, is there a way I can make up this test, or like can I meet with you and go over notes, then they see that I'm trying to, so then they're less likely to give me a hard time.
Do you ever have to like go in and complain to your coach about it?
I personally have not had that problem, but I know there have been times like my coaches have had to reach out to academic like professors, and we have an academic representative, so we kind of go through that professor as well, depending on the school that the student's in, and just to kind of like talk it through and see what.
Susan passes a bunch of questions, and she said they're trying to implement like a schedule sent out to the professors that they're trying to like let them know who is going to miss what days, and I don't know why that hasn't been a thing in the past, but they're implementing it next year.
I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, our coach really, at the beginning of the season, tells us, like, here's our schedule. You need to bring it to your professor, highlight if we're in a away game or something, we leave at this time, depending on how far it is. And you highlight the games that, like, you're like, hey, I'm not going to be in class this day. And then you look at the syllabus, if there's an exam, like, talk about all that at the beginning of the semester, and then make it clear that there might be changes. It's an outdoor sport. Yeah. So that's something that we do, but I think that something like that would really help, because I don't think that's very common across the board.
Yeah.
People do give athletes a hard time. They're like, it's a Division III school, and we're like, well, it still matters.
Exactly.
I try and be accommodating. My attendance policies, I think, are flexible enough that I can accommodate those students. I don't give students a hard time if they miss. What I try to do is make sure that communication is upfront enough that a student will let me know when they're traveling, and that I can communicate well enough to let them know what the assignments are, what the expectations are, so that they can get them done. No, I coach the speech and debate team, so it's sort of a reciprocity of sorts that my students sometimes need to miss classes, and I would expect professors to be accommodating.
Right.
I also understand that there's some responsibility on the student's part as well, but I think that because I'm in the same situation, I teach classes generally in the afternoon, so it's not unusual to have students that are leaving for a tournament or a game. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, definitely. Fridays are days when people are traveling. So yeah, almost every semester I have students that are out. I think that the attendance systems that we have in this country are too paternalistic, that people have sort of priorities in their lives. They have things that they can learn. People learn things different ways. I think if you do the work in a class and you succeed on whatever evaluation methods they're using, there should not be a gigantic preoccupation with attendance. That being said, when a student is paying tens of thousands of dollars to be here and is playing a sport and misses a substantial amount of classes, I wonder whether that student really knows whether they're getting their money's worth, so to speak. You know, and it depends on the nature of the athlete, the nature of the sport, but to a certain degree I think it's throwing money down the drain, right? There's lots of time for sport. If it's something that you want to do and invest your time in, again, it's a problem with the way sports, I think, are organized in the United States. They're organized through schools, and in other places in the world they're organized through clubs. And it's a little different kind of thing. If you were playing soccer at a certain level, which would be, say, equivalent to U.S. university soccer, you'd start playing on a farm team of some kind. I think that in that context, you don't have these sort of double demands, and you're also not throwing your money away to go to Ithaca College and not getting your money's worth in terms of classes. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think our model is kind of messed up in that way. That there should be more opportunities for professional sports, like in soccer in Europe.
Right.
I mean, farm teams in the United States for baseball, that works. There's some farm teams for basketball, but I think that there should be more of that instead of so much of an emphasis on college sports.
After talking with Professor Scott Thompson, I realized I had to find another athlete, or maybe not an athlete, maybe someone that dropped out, maybe someone that has both sides of the story.
This thing is probably the fact that like around 4 o'clock when we used to have practice, I don't have anywhere to be. So like I'll finish class, go home, I'm able to do whatever work I have to do for the next day, and then I just kind of hang out and I have that free time at night, whereas before it would be practice from 4 to 6, 6:30, get home at 7, eat, and then it's already 7:30 or 8, I got to do my work, and then it's all like I don't know, the day's over, rather than now where I have all that free time after. I mean, I don't have practice, so yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of say my class is done by 3 or 4 o'clock on whatever day of the week it is, and I have the rest of the day just kind of get my stuff done and hang out, rather than have to worry about okay, I got practice and then I have all these other things I got to do at the end of the day. Being a student athlete, they say you get preference, but you really don't. I mean, Coach tries to help us out as much as we can, but it's so tough that we try to schedule our classes in the morning, and sometimes we're not able to get them. I mean, it's nice being upperclassmen because it makes it a lot easier, but that's definitely a big thing, is I was able to just kind of schedule classes whenever I wanted to, rather than having to schedule them around practices, games, stuff like that. A lot of what I did this semester was work with Justin Lutz in athletic communications. I was able to get a lot of hours with him, which was nice to kind of make a little money, but also get some experience working. I mean, more because I've done it for a couple of years now, but last year I wasn't able to do it as much because we had practice every day, or we were always on the road traveling for games. Whereas this year I'm able to go in and almost every day when I don't have class, and kind of help them out as well as get more experience in that area, which was nice.
And you work with the baseball team?
Yeah, I work mostly with baseball. I mean, I kind of help out with all the sports, but all the game day operations is with baseball. So I'm up in the press box helping Justin out, which is another nice thing, because when I was on the team, I would show up 2-3 hours before the game to take batting practice, go through all the pregame rituals. And then after post-game, we talk with coach, go up in the locker room, and then be another hour after the game that I wasn't, out of there. And it's nice kind of showing up 20 minutes before the game, doing the work that I got to do, and then getting to leave 15, 20 minutes after, rather than making it like a whole day type thing.
So would you say your days are a little bit easier to manage?
Absolutely. Yeah, I just have so much more time to. It's not. I mean, it is free time, but it's not like it's not like I've blown off my time. I mean, I've been able to do a lot more work. I've been able to get my schoolwork done. I feel like I'm more efficient getting my work done, rather than, I have this deadline and I'm worried about getting it done because, we're on the road. I mean, last year we were on the road so much, and we were traveling so much and playing so many games during the week that I felt like I didn't have time, and I was kind of cramping everything together right before the due date. Whereas now that I'm not playing, there's just so much more time to get get the things done that I need to get done.
It seems like most of my time is going to baseball, absolutely, because it seems like I have to.
Only for a minute, I want to change my mind, 'cause this just don't feel right.